Well, my watch says it's 4 o'clock and it's time to begin. I am Sue Erickson, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the Pacific Northwest, about an hour north of Seattle. And rain or shine, it's stamping time. Today's a beautiful day outside.
One cucumber, one zucchini.
Thank you. I am now live. Anyway, we have a garden, and I was out picking green beans and things just a little bit ago, and my husband just came in saying we have a cucumber and we have a zucchini. We don't have a whole lot. The one thing that has really been growing well has been the green beans this year. I've had plenty to put in the freezer and plenty to give away. For some reason, they just are really, really doing well. So at any rate, but I'm here now to do some stamping. One of the suites that just became available in the holiday catalog, or I should say September through December mini catalog, is this one that's traditional Christmas. Traditions of Christmas, I should say. And it is a big suite, has a lot of products in it. It has Christmas greenery stamp set, which is photopolymer. I love photopolymer. By the way, as the new stamp sets come out, they're going to all be photopolymer, and they're going to be in packaging that is similar to this. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be 9 inches tall and 5, I think perhaps maybe just a little wider than this, but they're going to be 9 inches tall. So this is 7.5, so they'll be this much taller. But we will not have as much storage. It won't take up as much storage space. And I'm kind of excited about that. I will store them in a Tupperware tub, putting them like I do my dies, stacking them one after the other, and then I can just flip through and see what I have in the way of stamps. I normally have these sitting on the shelf, and I can read the border, the spine of the thing, to see what the stamp set is. We won't have that any longer, but we'll have it on the front. And another cool thing is that the dies will have pictures of what they cut out, so we won't have to guess quite so much. So anyway, this is one of the stamp sets in the suite, and the other one is traditional labels. And I like these. There's just for you, so you can use it any time of the year. There's a to and a from. You can use it for happy birthdays. There's happy wishes, sending happy wishes, sending cheer, sending joy and love and joy. You can do that all year long. Anyway, it's a great stamp set. Two great stamp sets. And also in the bundle are the traditional label dies. That's these. And this one is the one I will be using. It is very specific for two of the stamps in the set. And then this one is the Christmas greenery dies. And I have used the bow from that. Okay, now in addition to that, we have a very large embossing folder. It is almost 6 by 6. Designed for the European cards primarily. I don't know if we're going to be moving towards the A4 cards here in the United States or not. But I've got several ideas of ways that you can do this. And if you stick with me through the end of the video, I will show you how to make homemade envelope for 6 by 6 cards. In addition, in the suite are these beautiful traditional sparkling sequins. Look at how they sparkle. And they're flat, so that it doesn't take up too much bulk when you're going to be mailing your Christmas cards. And then is this beautiful shiny ribbon. One side is shiny and has a hint of gold in it. Let me get this out of the way so you can see better maybe. Kind of a hint of gold in it. The other side is not shiny. So when you go to tie your bows, you need to work to get the shiny side out. And the designer series paper is specialty designer series paper because it has gold on it. The back sides are nice. There's a plaid, but look at that point. Those poinsettias and Christmas roses, aren't they beautiful? There's stripes, and here's a bouquet, and one of the dies will cut out the bouquet. There's kind of a, this is Secret Sea, and it has just a kind of an all-over pattern. And there are poinsettias, real red polka dot. And this one I've used a lot of. And there's the Secret Sea stripes. And then there's this red poinsettia. Beautiful, beautiful paper. I'm about ready to have to order another bundle already. So that is what this suite is all about, called Traditions of Christmas. So I made this card. This is a 6x6 card. So you have to use a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. This happens to be white willow, which is one of the a new white that we brought over from Stamping Creative Memories. And then I'll use the dies. Here, I used the bow die. And what's really cool about the bow die, you get the bow, and you get the tails, and then there's this little thing here, and I thought it was like a holly berry. I thought, oh, but cutting out the whole bow just to get those little things. And just today I discovered, oh, it is the knot for the bow. So it's easy to lose, but I'm going to put it on my bow. Hopefully I have just a small dot of glue. Come on. Afraid I'll get a whole gob. You know how that goes. Come on. Out. Out, glue. Okay, get a different glue. That one's pretty much empty. There. And if you use the clay side of your, take your pick, let's see, there's a right side and a wrong side to this bow. Take your pick, you can pick it up and put the knot right on there. And that finishes off your bow so nicely. Now you might wonder about this wreath, how I came upon it. I tried a variety of different ways of coloring it. I inked up the embossing folder by sponging because I didn't want the whole thing. So I sponged, for this one I sponged the raised surfaces. And I ended up with the depressed areas, the debossed areas. No, that's the embossed. This is the debossed. So I had inked with a sponge. I inked up all this part of the thing and ran it through. And I got this rather pretty debossed area. But I had wanted to have it embossed. So then I inked up the I first inked up the raised portion, and that's when I ended up with the debossed. And then I sponged into the depressed areas, and that is when I ended up with the colored embossed. So you kind of have to figure out, try it a couple times like I did to get it to come out right. So this is one option that you can do for coloring it. You could just do this, and you could use chalk, or you could use colored pencils, or you could use Stampin' Blends to color each individual leaf if you like. Or you can do what I did here, and that is to take the stamp pad Now the reason why I cut out around the edges, I did fussy cut this one, and the reason why I did was because I ended up, to start with, I ended up putting the whole pad down, and so I got ink in these areas here and in the center, which I didn't want. So then I tried just rubbing the edge of it kind of over it. And that gives a really nice, you get a bit of lines. But you, depending on how wet your ink is, your ink pad, you can get some pretty good coloring. Like that. And I kind of like that. I think I still would color, fussy cut it and cut it out. And then I went with my blending pen. I used dark Poppy Parade, and I went in and colored all of the holly berries. Now, I always thought that holly was the pointed kind of leaves, but I have seen trees now, holly trees, with red berries that don't have pointed leaves. So I think that there are a couple of different varieties. So I am going with the fact that this is a holly wreath. So anyway, that's how I did this one. And like I say, I'll go ahead and fussy cut it out. But you don't want to see me fussy cutting. That takes a long time. So let's go ahead and complete this card. I think I'll go with the debossed side out. Now, one thing that's very interesting I discovered is that the center is not round. It is rather a rectangle, longer this way than this way. And Sending Love and Joy works to stamp it right in there. But depending on how you orient it, it might not work. So let's put this on. The card base is, 12 by 6, folded in half at 6 inches. And this is a piece of real red cardstock that is 5 7/8 square. This is 5 3/4. So go ahead and put that down. Oh, I wanted the debossed side down. I need to trim just a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. So I was going to have it open this way, but my stamp set will fit that way better. I gotta go get it. I have the luxury of having my stamp room right next to the kitchen. So rather than use my stamp and scrub or chamois to clean the stamps, I just get up and wash them off. So with Real Red, and I like sending love and joy. And it fits in here very nicely. And we'll put the bow on. I've got a fancy bow. I decided it would be fun to cut it out of the designer series paper. For a little bit of gold glitz. Okay. And put on the bow. And then we'll put on the knot. Oh. That's too much glue. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. Up, turn over. Where is it? I had it on my finger. Now it has disappeared. Go figure. And I've got glue on the top. Ah. Yep. Someplace I should have another bow. Not. Ah, there it is. And there it is, finished off. The inside is white, so don't have to add any extra card. But let's add a little bit of that bling. Are you a bling? There you are. Excuse my arm. And I think I'll put a little bit of red on to simulate the berries. I think I'll be generous. Put 5 of them on. There. And there you have it. fairly quick. Oh, one other thing I wanted to do. I will decorate the inside with a strip of the Designer Series paper. Come on. There we go. There. Okay, so there's one card done, 2 cards done. Now, there's another one. This one I decided to do with using the 2-tone Mossy Meadow. I embossed it and then I sanded to show a little bit of the relief of the embossing folder. And I have a real red card base. I happen to have had in my stash from way back when some textured real red, because I don't think I have any current real red 12 by 12 card stock. So we'll put in a piece of this on the inside to write on, and I have a strip to add to the bottom. This is a 5 3/4 square. Okay, then on the front, this is one of the Designer Series papers, and I decided it would make a nice background for my wreath. This is 5 3/4 square. Okay, supposed to be square. Looks like I didn't cut it very accurately. Okay, and then this. I decided to cut, first off I was going to cut the corners so I could put it on a diagonal, but that didn't work either. So I just went ahead and fussy cut around the edges. That goes down there like that. Now I could stamp, maybe with old olive, stamp it in the center there. Oops, I'm losing my bow materials. Hope I didn't lose the knot. But I decided to use the Sending Love and Joy and the die that comes with the traditional labels. And I wanted to show you someplace in here. I have a sample. Okay, where did you go? Oh, here it is. I wanted to show you that it is rather specific, the placement of your die. It looks like it would be curvy either way, and that would be great. But if you put it down this way, the curves don't quite follow the wording. So if you turn it over, you get a better fit. So that's just something to be aware of. And I already die cut it. Have this, and I'm going to, well, first I'll put on the bow because I don't want to have to work around popping up the greeting. So we'll put a bow up there, hope I can find the knot. It was here. Aha, here it is. Put a little bit of a dot there. Oh, come on. It's going to stick to my finger more than the... because I've got glue on my finger. There we go. Get it straightened out. There. Okay, now I'll pop up the greeting with Stampin' Dimensionals. There. And by using the banner, it doesn't matter what orientation the wreath is, because it will fit on there just nicely. Okay, so there's that one. Then what if you don't want to have a 6-inch square card? So I made this one, and this is a little bit tricky. What I did was, embossing folder, where are you? Okay, where'd you go? Here it is. Okay, so if you cut it in half, if you were into Boston just using half of it as an arc, it would still be too wide because our cards are only 5.5 and this is almost 6. So what I did was I took a piece of cardstock and I put it just at the edge. Okay, which edge did I use? So I just positioned it on the edge like this. But your hinge is up here, and it's better to run it through the hinge than to go sideways like this, because you couldn't send it through your embossing machine with this sticking out on the side. So I had to use the bottom. So I positioned it like that and ran it through. And then for the other side, I accidentally turned it over and put it in. So I got both sides, but one was embossed and the other side was debossed. So if you do that, you have to pay attention to which direction you're putting it in. So I did that, and then I used a sponge dauber. No, I used the blending brush to add color to the leaves, and then I used the Stampin' Blends to add to the berries, the red, and then I added some of those. And this is just a strip of the the shiny ribbon. So you can do it that way. And it could be, you could have it maybe up that direction, but I like the layout with it this way instead.